Welcome to the Systems and Power podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me. She is an alumni of Beirut College and NYU Tandon School of Engineering. She also serves on the ISACA Board of Directors as the Chair of Academic Relations and is also a cybersecurity analyst. Please welcome Iqra Malik. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, Moses, thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way. One of the reasons why I really liked your background was you started off from at an all-girls school. You talked about that briefly and how that kick-started your journey into cybersecurity, and I was wondering if you could go dive in a little bit deeper and explain to the audience about how that came to be.
Of course. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and when I went to that all-girls school, I was at an all-girls school for 7 years, grades 6 through 12, and it was a really, really small school. So we didn't even have a full building to ourselves, and my graduating class was only 70 girls. So
Wow.
you can imagine, compared to like a traditional high school that had like 400 or 500, mine only had like 70. Everybody knew each other pretty well. One of the biggest advantages of it being so small was that the teachers knew everybody. And I took a strong interest in technology from a pretty young age, and and my teachers and the faculty, they knew that. And I took on extracurriculars that like aligned with that. And I think the biggest opportunity for me personally was taking on or joining Girls Who Code. So Girls Who Code is a organization that helps young girls learn the basics of computer science from a very young age. So in high school, and they usually have some clubs as well that you can set up at your campus. But their summer immersion program was a great program because it was throughout the summer in the corporate environment. So when I applied, and then I didn't know if I would get in or not because it still is very popular, but at the time there was a lot of competition. It was very competitive to get into those programs. So I took a shot and I'm like, okay, maybe I won't get in, but at least I tried. And then I got the acceptance letter and I'm like, oh my
Let's
God, this
go.
is so cool. And then I realized that they also had like hosting sites. So like my program was hosted at JP Morgan's office in downtown Brooklyn, Metro Tech Center. And I was really excited about that because I don't think I'd ever been in a corporate like office like that at that age, at that point. So I was really excited about that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like meeting like JP Morgan Chase employees, like a 16-year-old kid that's
Mhm.
like super excited when it comes to that. So um, yeah, so I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And then summer came around, and then I took part in that. And then it was my first taste of, again, corporate environment. And that corporate life, I got to meet other JP Morgan employees that were software engineers, directors, VPs. And then they were very supportive of us throughout the entire program. Um, and yeah, I learned like the basics of like Scratch was. I learned the basics of like HTML, CSS, and that kind of thing, and I really liked it. Um, and we had like a final presentation at the end.
Shout out to Scratch though for all the
Yeah,
Scratch
right. Like
users
the
out there.
basics, like the website, like kind of. It was so cute. I'm like, this is so fun. Like people, I thought people like actually worked in Scratch, but I learned there was a learning platform. I'm like, okay, never mind. Um,
I started using it at first,
it
so
was
I'm
so
glad.
fun, and like the people on there are so creative, and like oh my goodness, like this is insane. And I actually played like so many different games on there and actually learned how they were built. And I think that's the really cool part of Scratch is when you're playing like a basic game, you don't know how much work goes into it, but when you look at the building blocks behind it, it's actually pretty cool. Um but yeah, I learned that HTML, CSS, and then we had a final presentation at the end, and there were a bunch of JP Morgan execs there. My parents were there, and it was like we got to present our final project, and that kind of gave me the confidence. I'm like, confidence to pursue a career in tech. At that point, I knew I wanted to pursue that as a career, but afterwards, after doing more research, I realized that there's different domains of tech that you can pursue. So I was like, okay, so what do I want to specialize in? Because I kind of had an idea that, okay, maybe software engineering is not something that I'm interested in, but what about like relating to that or being like supportive of tech? But because I feel like all domains of tech are all like intertwined and they all support one another. So I was like, okay, maybe I could try something else and see what I like. And college application season was coming around. When it came to the college application process, I wasn't really big on going to like big name schools. I honestly, my goal was to just get my degree, get a job right out of college, and make six figures. It's just literally my goal, and I'm like, as long as I can do that, I don't really care where I go. As long as it's a 4 year college as well, of course.
Gotta get the
And
bag.
again, my school was also very, very supportive of that. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna apply to like four schools, one of them being Baruch, and they were like, all right, whatever floats your boat. They encouraged me like apply to these private schools, but the thing is, I knew that I wouldn't get any funding or any financial aid, and I would have to take out a loan, and I personally didn't think it was worth it to take out a loan. And again, like my going back to my school at the time, they knew my financial situation at home as well, and they also kind of presented me with opportunities that allowed with that, because a lot of the opportunities, rightfully so, were aimed towards low income students, and um based on that, I just kept pursuing opportunities and seeing what that was about. But yeah, honestly, I was like, I just don't want to go into debt. I just want to get a job right out of college, and I was like, I think Baruch is like the one place that I want to go. And I heard a lot of great things about Baruch already, but I also liked that they had different tracks within their information systems major. So, for example, they have like a general computer information systems major, with like a general track, and then they have cybersecurity, and then they have data analytics. And I was like, cybersecurity, what is that about? I was like, let me look into that. And I was doing my research, and I was like, this is so cool. I really like this. And I noticed that there weren't a lot of other schools that were offering that specific degree, or like at the time I didn't know that. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll apply here and see what's up. And I also knew that they had a cybersecurity club on campus, and I'm like, I'm going for this. I got a bit of scholarships, but my eyes were set on Baruch. Um, and I eventually got in, and I committed right away. Wasted no time,
Let's
and
go.
yeah, and it was kind of like history from there. And back to my all girls school. If it weren't for that school, I don't think I would have known about Girls Who Code or had honestly the confidence to pursue that opportunity. But I'm glad I had that support system there, and they encouraged me to do so, and that kind of like honestly catapulted my career, or like kind of like kick started it. So I really give credit to that all girls school, because it was a really small community, but we all were really supportive of each other and our careers. Like I had friends that went to Harvard, UPenn, um, and a bunch of other really cool schools, and I'm like, yeah, like we should all be pursuing that. I have friends that went to all these like different schools, and we were all like just really supportive of each other. Like they want to go to medicine, law. Wanted to go into tech, and we were all just again really supportive of each other. And I really credit the all girls school for that.
Good, I guess, student to teacher ratio. I think you said
Yeah,
it was about like 10, 10 to 1, or
yeah, about yeah, and the teachers are also like just so supportive of each of us. Like it was like, okay, if for example, if I had an issue with or I need help with something, or I need help with a presentation, like teachers will cut out like an hour or take out their entire lunchtime just to help us with that. Or whether it came to an application for like extracurricular opportunity, like I know at the time there was also like SEO and Minds Matter and like all these like cool extracurricular programs, um or like college readiness programs, and they were all just like really supportive of that, and they also always made time for us. And I think in a high school, I think going to a big school, I just don't think that I would get that anywhere else.
thank you for telling us about your time there.
Yeah,
And what other thing that also wanted to ask. So during your time at Baruch, you actually joined the ISACA case study competition,
yeah,
and funny enough, we were both finalists in that
yeah,
competition, but different years though. I think you were the one the following year right after the one I did. How
yeah.
was how could you reflect a little bit on during that time preparing for the case study and having to prepare your whole pitch deck to the interviewers, who were basically cybersecurity
Yeah.
CISOs, CTOs from all
Yeah.
different sorts of companies. Because I know now they do it a lot more debate style, but back then you just kind of
It's
gave your
interview.
solution
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
interview style,
Yeah.
pitch deck style, and that was kind of how it was done back then. Could
Hmm.
you, I guess, reflect on that and your time having to go present and discuss cybersecurity solutions to Fortune
Yeah.
500 companies in front of those types of people?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I mean, I was involved in ISACA cybersecurity club since the get-go. When I first started at Baruch, like again, I knew I wanted into cybersecurity, and I knew that that was gonna be my like specialty, and like really hone in on that, no matter what it took. So being a part of the cybersecurity club helped me gain access to the opportunity, but because of course, um, the ISACA Cybersecurity Club, they were affiliated with the ISACA New York chapter. So that like all the opportunities from the New York chapter would kind of funnel down to us and be passed on to us, and we would help market that. And it was also open to the club members as well. Um, and I was like, interesting. I can definitely be a part of that, but I would definitely need team members to like guide me through it, or like we could work together through that kind of thing. And I also it was great exposure, I think, because the thing is at Baruch, when you first start out, you're not taking cybersecurity classes from the jump, right? You're taking intro to business, accounting, and like basic computer information systems courses, very general. So at that point, you're not really taking cybersecurity classes. You're just taking intro classes for the Iqra School of Business. So I was like, okay, this could be a great opportunity for me to just learn about cybersecurity in like a real context and like a project before I actually join a cybersecurity class in my curriculum. So I was like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. And there were some fellow um, cybersecurity like club members that I already been like close friends with. So I asked them, I'm like, hey, like, do you guys want to be a part of this cybersecurity case study competition with me? I think it would be really fun. And they were like, yeah, we were thinking the same thing. Like, we should definitely form a team. Um, so yeah, we formed a team. We signed up, and then they actually paired us with a mentor. The first year, it was Professor Tedeschi, Mary Tedeschi, and she was amazing and she was great. And she was really helpful throughout the entire process. And as we kind of thought through the case study, it was like a cybersecurity case study related to a pharmaceutical company, and I don't remember the exact details, but it was a pretty interesting one. And so we worked through it together, and then our mentor, she actually helped find gaps in our logic, and she helped us understand it from a different perspective. And I think having a mentor also really helped us in that way. But yeah, I don't remember too many details, but I do remember it being a really informative and really insightful experience, given that I wasn't taking like the hardcore cybersecurity classes yet. Um, but yeah, I think we submitted our presentation. It was a great like team building exercise as well. We were spending a lot of time outside of campus, which I thought was really cool. It was like a team bonding experience, and I'm still friends with the same people that I was on the team with. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, and I think that's also the part of it, right? You build a support system, and it helps you increase your network, whether you know your team members from the get go or not. And I think it's a not only do you get to know about cybersecurity, but you also get to do that as well. But the interview process is very nerve wracking because I had never been in that situation before, and it was pretty intimidating, and I was really nervous. But our team handled it pretty well, I think, because we got second place that year. Um, so yeah, it was a really informative experience. I really enjoyed it, and then that actually inspired us to pursue the competition again the following year in 2023. I mean, we didn't win that one, honestly, but it got really competitive every single year, as you know, Moses. It was a great experience. I would recommend it to everybody joining. And I think again, like being chair of academic relations, like I'm on the other side of it now, and it's so interesting to remember and think about my experience and how like every single year we get to give that same experience to other students from all over the world, because it opened up to the entire world. Now we have students from Egypt, we've had students from Puerto Rico, we've had students from India. So it's really inspiring to see like the work that we do, and a competition that I once was a student of and actually benefiting from. I'm actually helping other students benefit from it now, which is a really crazy full circle moment. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, since you're right now serving on the board of directors of ISACA as the chair of academic relations, you're essentially tapped into the job market of
Right.
entry level talent, and
Yeah.
you're seeing all these students who are graduating school, or even like students who are currently in school looking for internships and everything like
Yeah.
that, looking for employment right now in the cybersecurity sector. As you can see online, everyone's kind of dooming about the job market nowadays. Everyone's
Right.
saying, "Oh, tech is screwed
Mhm.
up and everything,
Yeah.
and it's all over, doom and gloom." What do you have to say about the current entry level job market in tech, and is the career ladder still real for people who are graduating at right now? Or
The thing is, I also have a lot of students and also young professionals or aspiring cybersecurity professionals reach out to me on social media as well. Like they DM me, they're like, "Hey, like I'm so and so, and I've been doing this and this, but I just haven't been getting interviews." I'm gonna be honest. I do feel for this generation of people like looking for jobs, and it's so hard out there. Like I have so many friends that are also um looking for jobs, and experience getting laid off and then restructuring of companies and stuff like that. And I think because of that, it's also just made the cybersecurity job market specifically very very competitive again, like as if it wasn't already competitive enough. Like it just got way worse. And especially with AI now, I think it's just made things so much more complicated. And honestly, like I've said this before to people, but I think that it's easy to get discouraged when you're seeing these companies lay people off because of AI. And while I believe that to a certain extent, I do think that it's all really inflated. I feel like companies are like quickly realizing or too quick realizing too quickly that okay, AI can help us streamline this process or automate this process, right? But in the midst of that or as a result of that, you have people getting laid off because of something that ultimately won't take their job. It would just make their job easier. And I think that quite frankly, I think AI is just an excuse for companies to lay people off. That's the way I see it. And again, as a result of that, like it all feeds into this competitive market that we're seeing. But honestly, like at that level, we can't really control that, right? It all comes down to, like you're saying, systems and power, right? That's what this podcast is about. There's nothing we can do about that as people that are really new to the industry or looking for jobs in cybersecurity. But I do think that we have to take it upon ourselves to upskill as much as possible. And also, building a personal brand right now is probably one of the most crucial things that you can do for yourself to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Like I know everybody talks about like posting on LinkedIn is cringe and posting this is cringe, but honestly, it's what sets you apart. And I think part of being successful is being cringe. So I think that going back to my point, I think it's really important that we try to set ourselves apart as much as possible, by any means possible. Like whether it comes to doing different projects, right? I know everybody talks about projects, everybody talks about do this, do that, do this, do that, but I think that if you can do a project that uniquely speaks to your skills and things that you're interested in, then I think that's really beneficial. Um, um, but at the end of the day, you're really doing it for yourself. But I think posting on LinkedIn is a great way to get your personal brand out there or put your name out there. Like let's say you work on a project, right? And you learn something really substantial from it. Make a LinkedIn post about it, right? Get your name out there as much as possible and send it around to as many people as possible and talk about it with other people, right? Um, like instead, I know going to networking events and stuff like that, that's like a whole other level, but like that's LinkedIn and posting stuff online is like kind of where I would start if you're not interested in going to networking events right off the bat. But I would definitely say like you should definitely get your name out there as much as possible, and talk about things and give your own opinion on things, but obviously to a certain extent. Recruiters are always looking for candidates for various jobs that they're in charge of hiring for. So it's like LinkedIn is like a gold mine for that. So again, making sure that you differentiate yourself in a way, whether that be posting on LinkedIn, posting on TikTok, posting on Instagram, like me, Moses and I do, posting as much as possible. And honestly, like if when you are ready for it, going to networking events. Me and Moses live in New York City, and there's no shortage of networking events here. It's like every single
True.
week there's something going on, right? Last month it was AWS Summit. There were like 10 or 20 networking events just surrounding that, right? There's the ISC2 chapter, the ISACA New York chapter. They have so many different events that you can join, and they're very friendly for entry level professionals or those looking for new jobs. So I would definitely take advantage of that. And yeah, just talk to as many people as possible. Honestly, get your name out there. The more people that know you, the better off you will be. And I know that, and it sucks that we have to go to these lengths. Like, I wish we didn't have to do like so much in order to be considered for a job or be considered like worthy of being interviewed, because even getting an interview nowadays is like is really hard, and I totally recognize that. But yeah, we really had to take it upon ourselves, if that makes sense. And honestly, on my end as well, like I try to help people as much as possible. Like if you're listening to this and you're already you're like really established in your career, and you're in a senior level position, or you honestly like have a job in the cybersecurity industry, like I would definitely lend a hand to those that need it. Like my friends, again, some of my friends had gotten laid off, and I was like more than willing to refer them. Even students that I talked to through ISACA, even students I talked to through on social media that reach out to me, like I'm like, if you're interested, like I could definitely help you out. Like whether it be reviewing your resume, reviewing like a cover letter, reviewing your job application, anything like that, like I'm always willing to help others. Honestly, like I would not want to take anything from them. It's just something that I think we as a community, especially in cybersecurity, we're pretty small. Well, we're growing day by day, I think, but we really have to take it upon ourselves to support one. We really have to take it upon ourselves to help others wherever we can. And also, like I'm really big on community building and also building a support system, and I think that's the best way to do that. Um, like help others. Like it really doesn't cost a lot, honestly. Like that's just something that I implement in various parts of my life, and I'm like, if I can help somebody and it doesn't cost me anything, that I will 100% do it. If that helps somebody like get to the next step of their career, next step of their life. Um
I know this might be a bit of a broader question, but it's going to be relating back to the whole topic of AI in the job market right now.
right.
Do you think that AI needs to be regulated in terms of the threat of taking a lot of entry level jobs for new college graduates, and especially early career workers as well?
You're saying that making sure AI is regulated so that for
In
the
a
job
way, at least
market.
for in a way, at least for corporations.
Hmm.
That was a question that came to mind.
Yeah, that's a good question. If I was running my own company and I was a senior in a corporation or organization, I would definitely be using AI, right? Like 100%. We should all be using AI to some extent to make our lives easier in any way possible. Like even now, like I use Claude every single day. Like it's almost unhealthy at this point, the amount of stuff that it knows about me. So I don't think I'm the perfect person to be asking this
I'm
question.
guilty as charged too.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm,
But like the thing is, I think to a certain extent, like we should definitely be using AI, right? Whether that be Claude, ChatGPT. I mean, even at work, like we use ChatGPT and Pilot. Like it makes us so much more productive, and it honestly like takes the time out of minuscule and manual tasks. Like I totally understand that, and I use it in my day-to-day for that reason. If it could save me time, I'm definitely gonna invest in it, right? Invest time and money, time in like having it get to know me, time in it understanding what my productivity stack is and that kind of thing. um the thing is with AI, we don't know its full capabilities yet, right? We're still exploring its capabilities. We're still thinking about the different ways that it could make us more productive, even though we've come up very far since ChatGPT launched in 2022.
One thing that I always was wondering about, and a lot of people have brought it up, is that maybe that the government should put some placeholders on corporations on how much AI should be used in terms of, I guess, that would make it to not be a threat to having entry level jobs being taken away from younger people, because right now AI has been getting a lot of controversy recently, especially with
Right.
data centers
Yeah.
and entry level hirings, especially with people who are Gen Z.
Yeah.
And when they see that a lot of their livelihoods are being taken away, or
Yeah.
at least threatened by it, they're
Hmm.
like, okay, should like the government come in and do something to
Yeah.
make corporations at least not overuse AI to the point it's going to threaten the job market like
Right.
that. So that's one thing a lot of people
Mhm.
have brought up to me, and that was one of the questions that I definitely wanted to bring up to you.
Yeah. I think this is just my opinion, but I think that when it comes to entry level talent, I don't think we should be automating those with AI. Not everything in cybersecurity can be fixed with AI, right? Like
Yes, that's
there's
100%
still
true.
like a huge human element to it that we need, and like AI will not. I don't think AI will be replacing humans or replacing these really important tasks anytime soon. It's like not in the near future whatsoever. There still needs to be a human element to it, and I think that we're pretty much robbing the entry level market or those candidates from an opportunity where they can learn how to use AI to combat these threats, right? Whether it be in any domain of cybersecurity. And I think that there's a big missed learning opportunity for them, and we're robbing them of that. And honestly, robbing ourselves, like in general in the cybersecurity industry, like as we progress, right? And as the older generations, as they leave the industry, like who's gonna be left behind? Who's gonna help check what the AI is doing, right? Like 10 or 20 years from now, how are we gonna have these entry level candidates or the younger generation if we've been automating everything using AI or using AI as an excuse to not hire them? Then who's gonna be running the company in 10 or 20 years? You know what I mean? So I think it's a pretty interesting debate. I think people can definitely argue for the other side of that. Honestly, people can argue that, oh, AI can be used to automate pretty much everything or run your whole company. And I think that's a pretty bold claim right now. Definitely AI is not where we think it is at this point, but eventually we'll get there. But at the same time, right now, we still need to consider the human element of it and not rob the younger generation of these career opportunities, because everybody says that like when new technologies come around, the first computer came out, everybody had to adapt, right? Everybody
Yes.
had to learn how to incorporate these new technologies into their everyday life or their career. So definitely the same thing can be done with AI, but without replacing humans and completely getting rid of them and removing them from the process. Especially in cybersecurity, I personally think it's very dangerous to be using AI for a lot of different cybersecurity operations, but that's just my opinion. But yeah,
No, of course. Thank you so much for sharing. I
yeah,
found
of
it really
course.
insightful. One other thing that I did want to also touch on is about the subject of data centers, because it's been getting quite controversial. But in here in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul just signed an executive order establishing a statewide moratorium on new large-scale data centers. It's basically just halted all permits and facilities that were building data centers. Do you think that data centers are overall extremely harmful for the community? And I mean, a lot of studies do suggest that they're not necessarily the most beneficial, but do the benefits of data centers that help build AI and propel it outweigh the cost of potential harm in local communities?
Hmm. That's a really good question. Governor Kathy Hochul is like trying to stop the production of them in New York State, from my
Yes.
understanding,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Right now it's just New York
Yeah.
State.
So I think that when it comes to building these data centers, I think again, I completely understand where the concern comes from of building data centers and pretty much like stopping the production or the construction of them. I totally get it, like in terms of like it harms the environment, and a lot of people are against that. Like also taking up space where like farmland could be, because I remember that that was something that people were also saying, like
Yeah.
data centers sometimes can take up useful land for
Yeah.
different farms and stuff like that, but when that same space could be used for other things that could benefit society. Um, I think Governor Kathy Hochul is right in her decision, because it's like, again, when it comes to the use of AI, like I feel like if we let data centers, if we put a stop to it now, I think that it will stop everything from, or stop AI from becoming this huge thing where it takes over everything. Data centers are like the backbone of AI. It's what helps
Mhm.
AI prosper, like AI function the way it should be, and the way that we use it today. And considering the amount of AI tools and the AI slop that we have nowadays, I think when it comes to data centers, I think that not building too many of them is what's beneficial for society in general. Because again, AI is still so new, right? AI has been around for a very long time, actually. AI has been around for way longer. It just became popular now, and
Yeah.
I
Throwback
think
to like the
that,
IBM Watson days.
yeah, like it's been around for so long. I think now there's just been a lot of heavy scrutiny on data centers, but at the same time, we don't want to get too out of hand. So, like, again, I completely understand where Governor Kathy Hochul is coming from. And I don't want to stir the pot also with like very strong opinions, but yeah, like I'm not very anti AI, but I'm also not very pro AI. Like, I think that we can use AI in moderation and like help us be more productive, but I think that there's like a limit, right? And I think that if we put a limit on data centers now, it will only be beneficial for society later on. And I don't think if people are against this decision that Kathy Hochul came out with, then I don't think they're going to be seeing the benefits or understanding the benefits until way later on. But again, my opinion could change in a couple years if you check back, but that's kind of like how I stand on it right now.
A lot of the big concerns that people have been having was especially because of, like you said, the farmland and also the amount of water that data centers do
Right.
use. And there was this one chart that I saw. On average, they use anywhere between 20 to 30 billion gallons of
Yeah,
water
that's
for U.S.
insane.
data centers. But
Yeah.
also a very interesting fact: U.S. golf courses use about more than 500 billion gallons of water.
Mm,
That is like much more than 10 times on
right.
how much data centers is used. So a
Right.
lot of people are saying, like, yes, data centers are not necessarily the most healthy for the environment, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of other factors out there that are
Mhm.
obviously much more harmful.
Yeah.
And I completely understand where you're coming from. Is that in if we're gonna actually have like progress towards AI, there needs to be some sort of regulation or some sort of
Yeah.
safety guardrails in terms of like
Yeah.
to help steer the direction where it's going. Kind of like like when you're playing sports and there's like referees and at least there's
Yeah.
there's rules
Right.
in place. You don't want complete anarchy there.
Yeah, like you don't want people to just go off and build data centers like whenever they want, right? There has to be some government involvement with it, I think, and like some regulation around that. So like I completely understand that, and it's also interesting that you brought up that golf course one, because I did not know that until you just mentioned it. So it's pretty interesting how like people can pick and choose on what they want to scrutinize. Because I mean, like people have been playing golf for God knows how long, like hundreds and hundreds of years, right? I'm sure. So it's like, and the building of data centers just became more common. I think that's just the nature of our societies, that people would like to pick and choose what fits their agenda. So I mean, to each their own. So
No, that's completely fine. Thank you again for providing
yeah,
your insight. And cybersecurity is now much more important than ever, especially with the rise of AI generated cyber attacks that are going on?
Yeah, like I actually talk about this on my social media as well. Like I make videos on like AI security threats and how we can use AI to be more productive, how we can use AI to be more cyber safe, and well, that's one side of it, but it's also how AI again is being used to supercharge these attacks. Going back to what I was saying earlier in terms of like early career professionals, right? And like kind of like robbing them of these opportunities. I think that with cybersecurity, like people always ask me, like when I meet somebody for the first time, it's funny. I actually had this conversation like a week ago. I was talking to somebody and they were and I told them like, oh yeah, like I work in cybersecurity, and they're like, oh, like how do you think is AI gonna be taking your job? And that's like almost always the first question I get nowadays when I mention that I'm in cybersecurity. And honestly, I understand. It's like totally fine. Like I understand the question and where it's coming from. I think like the way I answer it is that if anything, AI just creates more job opportunities for cybersecurity professionals because again, who's regulating the AI and who's checking AI's responses and its work? Who's checking that, right? We need a human in the loop always, I think. As your sidekick and kind of supercharging your productivity. Like I get that, but it's also not using AI to completely replace humans. We have okay, no offense to anybody doing like vibe coding applications, right? Even I've also vibe coded and built some applications on my own, but I think going back, I mentioned like the word AI slop. There's a lot of AI slop nowadays. There's a lot of people coming out with different apps, and they're all great ideas, and I totally understand, right? Those they're great ideas that it takes less time to bring to the public or push to production, right? But we're these applications like Base 44 and Lovable, like they kind of they make it a little too fast. And I think that's the point, right? Like you have an idea and you think of it, you want to build an app for it and you want to make money off it, and that's totally understandable. You want to make a business out of it. And we have so many more entrepreneurs with like so many different cool backgrounds and so many different unique perspectives that now they can like they give an idea and they can make an app, right? But while that's great and all, there's also a security component to it. If you're building these applications, and I think these platforms like Lovable, Base 44, and Cloud Code, they all have like security checks now. When they first came out, there wasn't a lot of that. Or I think there wasn't like any security checks or very basic security checks. But now, like, there were a lot more security breaches or in the news of like people, like I was reading like some Reddit threads and people were like, look at this app that I found. I could literally look at its like secret keys like right in the terminal. Like I could literally run a command and I could see all of its code and its entire database and stuff like that. So that kind of brings up a concern of like, okay, yes, we're building at a speed like we've never seen before, but how are we securing those apps at the same time? And I think that's where the gap is. And I think that yes, we do have new AI tools and security tools that can help catch those vulnerabilities and like code flaws, but at the same time it's like we do need a human again in the loop to be checking that work and verifying that it's honestly like effective, because we need somebody who's experienced in the security industry that knows what they're doing and has done this and hands on, and I could actually verify the work that AI is doing. So yeah,
I don't know if you remember that
that's how
dating app
far
called
I
the
was
T app.
of the T app as I
And
was
I
speaking.
remember
Yeah,
you made a reel about that,
yeah, I
and
did.
it became very big, and a lot of people were using it. There
Totally.
was
Yeah.
there was a huge data leak.
And I think that's like a prime example of like using technology for the greater good, but it's also at the same time we have to consider security implications, right? Like if for those that don't know or those that missed out on it, the T app was it gave women the chance to kind of vet men that they were dating, and like kind of see what like their exes or their past dates or like were saying about that person, kind of like to do like a background check on them before they went on a date, before they committed to them and that kind of thing. It was kind of like for women's safety, just to make sure that this person wasn't dangerous, right? And honestly, rightfully so, and I completely understand the need for that. I also registered for the T app, just to like see what it was about, for legal purposes. But but just to
It's
see
all
what
good.
it
It's
was
all
about
good.
because I was really curious, and I noticed that part of the process for women who wanted to gain access to this app, they had to take a photo of themselves and a picture of their ID so they can verify who this person was. So there were some security measures in place, but for users. Um, on the user and like the front end, but I think that when it came to like the back end, it was basically like somebody found the entire database of like everybody that was registered on there, all the women that were on it, all their like personal information, and also for each user if they posted a comment about somebody and it kind of like exposed them because the point of the T app was for it to be anonymous, but the fact that the database was open and there was basically no lock on it, it gave everybody access to search up who was said what about whom and what their address is and like IDs and stuff like that. It was insane. But yeah, again, I think that if there were basic security measures taken, I think it still could have been around today. And I think it still is. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't verified, but it would still be around and be like a really useful product to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, sadly, there were just no security measures in place. So
I looked it up on Gemini.
yeah,
72,000 user verification photos and over 1 million private messages were all leaked. I think that's an
right.
insane amount.
That's
I remember there was another major incident. I think it was called Lovable. It exposed the data of like I think over 15,000 people.
mhm.
Basically because like there was no basic security controls whatsoever on that app.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Again, like I think I do remember that story about Lovable. I can't really remember, but again, it comes back to the point, right? Like Lovable and these apps like that we have now that are really popular, like they're amazing. And I have nothing against them. I've used them myself and tested them myself, but again, we really need to have security checks in place for users and for the app itself, right?
Thank you so much. Since you work with a lot of students on the
Yeah.
case study competitions, you're still helping mentor the future generation. What is your whole take on the importance of mentoring and helping shape the future for the industry as a whole?
Oh, that's a great question. And I have so many answers for this. I just have to boil it down to one. And again, I think it goes back to a point that I was making earlier. I think that, again, cybersecurity is a really booming industry. And I think that as it continues to grow and as we have more people join the industry, I think that mentoring is just going to get that much more important, especially for coming from a woman of color, right? Who's also in cybersecurity. Like, I've had so many women on the board of ISACA that I work with that are much older than me and much more experienced than me and have a lot more skin in the game than I do, and I have so much to learn from them. And I hope that one day that I could be something like that for somebody else. But yeah, like I think mentoring is such an underrated thing, and I think we need more of it. And I also like when it comes to mentoring, like you really never know whose life you're gonna change. Mentoring can come in all different forms too, by the way. Like it does not need to be like one-on-one calls. It does not need to 100% be like we're always meeting on the regular cadence and stuff like that. Like even just through social media. Like I feel like when I make a video, right? And the reason why I started creating content on social media was because I wanted to help mentor people at scale, essentially. Like just like boiling it down to one mission, having to mentor people on a bigger scale and reach more people. And like when I first started with ISACA, I was mentoring a lot of students and young professionals one on one. Even though I'm a young professional myself still, right? Like I still have so much to learn, but there's always somebody else that could also that still has to learn that. And I always take it upon myself to like hop on a call with somebody if there's something that they need, or if they're interested in something, or they want to look for or looking for a job, or they need help with something. Again, like I'm always willing to volunteer myself and help them out with that because it honestly makes me really really happy to do that. Even like mentoring like student groups, right? These are big groups of students at different campuses, and like I'm providing them or helping them find professionals. I'm helping them understand how to put on events, how to use a budget effectively, the budget that we provide them as a chapter. Like even like mentoring in different ways. I think mentoring again can come in different forms. If you have a couple years of experience in the industry, like there's always somebody out there that's gonna want to learn from you. And I definitely would say like if you can give back to others, you will thank yourself later. It makes me really fulfilled, like when I'm like getting off a mentoring call with somebody, or even if I get like a message from somebody on Instagram or TikTok, like, hey, I really liked your videos and it inspired me to get into cybersecurity industry, and like they have questions. Like I'm constantly texting people and like helping my friends break into cyber as well, and like grabbing dinner with them, grabbing lunch with them. Like again, like I think the more that we help each other out and help one another out and support one another, I think the better off we'll be as a community and as a society as a whole. Because cybersecurity is also a cutthroat industry. Like we have a lot of competition, and I think it's really easy to like pull each other down and like really like be really competitive and not be supportive. It's really easy to do that, but I think that the more that we support one another, the better off we will be, and the more that we learn from each other as well. Like if you're constantly having your guard up, like, oh, this person has this and this person is has this, like I have this and they're gonna want to benefit from me, it's like, so what, right? Like what is it gonna cost you to help somebody else is what I believe. And again, like the more that you take time to mentor somebody, you really know what you will learn from them as well. I know like my communication skills have improved, my public speaking skills have improved. I've learned to be more resourceful when it comes to finding resources for others. Like I know exactly where to go now, what websites to visit, that kind of thing. So like helping others is also helping yourself as well. Though that's the way I see it.
Okay, thank you so much again. I think the importance of mentoring, especially
Yeah.
even if you like you're a few years after graduation, or even 10 years, there's always someone to learn from.
Yeah.
And despite the fact, like even when you find yourself in the position of mentoring and helping other students, there's always someone else you can look up to and try to follow their path.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like, would you rather live in total solitude, or would you rather live in complete surveillance?
Total solitude.
All right, what is the last show you binged?
Gossip Girl for like the millionth time. It's like my most favorite show. I could watch that show like a million times and never get tired of it.
What, as a native New Yorker, what is your best spot in and favorite spot in New York City?
Food. No, honestly, no gatekeeping over here. I'm very anti-gatekeeping. No, that's so hard because it really depends on what I'm craving. But right off the top of my head, what I'm really craving right now is Birria LES. Birria
Awesome, awesome. Would you rather have five matchas, three black coffees, or white monsters, like one I'm
Five
drinking right now?
matchas. Five
Five
matchas.
matchas.
Five matchas. Like no question. No question. I am a matcha fiend. So I have
Awesome,
like
awesome.
every single day I have like a coffee in the morning and then a matcha in the evening. So matchas all the way. 100%. You at networking events and you have like a monster in your hand, you should definitely like take care of that because I used to have like triple shots like every single day, and it's like I had to stop. It was
Oh,
becoming too much. Like I don't know how you're not bouncing off the walls right now. Like
you're a better person than me.
yeah.
What and for the final one though, what is
Yeah.
one piece of advice you would give to your younger college self when you just entered the halls of Baruch College?
I say just don't take stuff too seriously. Like I felt like I took myself like way too seriously. If I were to look back, like college was probably like the best 4 years of my life. I loved college even though it was ruined by COVID. Like half of it was ruined by COVID. I would say just don't take things so seriously, and honestly, like say yes to everything. Yeah, those are the two pieces of advice. Don't take yourself seriously and just have fun. And two, say yes to everything.
I absolutely love that.
I feel like when we're in college, I feel like we're so locked in and like tapped in with classes and like get like we have to like do this assignment, do that, like this club event, this kind of thing. I feel like we don't really take the time to really have fun and like kind of like sit in the midst of it. I'm like, okay, I really need to like calm down a little and like go out and have some fun because I felt like I was in the library all the time. So I would just tell myself like, hey, just go have fun. Like you'll live, you'll be okay.
And to conclude this, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, so my full name is Iqra Malik, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I also, like I mentioned throughout this podcast episode, I also create content on social media. So my handle is Iqra XMA, so or like Iqra Cybersecurity. Like you can just search that up and be able to find me. But yeah, I would love to have more members of my community, and like mentor more people and help as many people as I possibly can. So I just find a lot of joy in that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, Iqra. It was a pleasure having
Yeah.
you on.
Yeah, of course. All right. Thank you so much, Moses. I appreciate it.